Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will learn about cursors. In a relational database, operations affect the entire set of rows. The row set returned by a select statement includes all the rows that satisfy the conditions in the where clause of that statement. This complete row set returned by the statement is called the result set. However, applications, especially interactive online applications, may not always be able to efficiently process the entire result set as a single unit. These applications require a mechanism to process one row or a portion of rows at a time. Cursors provide this mechanism and are an extension of handling result sets. MySQL provides the ability to process a result set row by row through cursors. A cursor can be thought of as a record pointer within a table that is associated with a specific query result. At any given moment, the cursor points to only one record. In other words, a cursor is used to handle data by moving the pointer that points to the records. The operation process of a cursor generally consists of 4 steps: declaring the cursor, opening the cursor, reading the cursor, and closing the cursor. Declaring a cursor refers to creating the structure of the cursor using a select query statement, specifying which data is included in the cursor's result set. The declaration of a cursor is done using the declare cursor statement, and its syntax is as follows: declare cursor underline, name cursor for select statement. In the above statement, the cursor underline name must be unique, and the select statement cannot contain the int keyword. After declaring the cursor, the associated select statement is not executed yet. After declaring a cursor, it must be opened to allow the select statement to fetch data based on the query conditions and store it in the memory of the MySQL server. The syntax to open a cursor is as follows: open cursor underline name. Once the cursor is opened, you can retrieve data from the result set. The syntax to is as follows: fetch next from cursor underline name into variable underline name. Variable underline name. The fetch statement retrieves data from the specified cursor and stores it into the corresponding variables. The number of variables must match the number of fields in the result set obtained from the select statement when declaring the cursor. It is possible to store the retrieved column data into local variables. The variables in the list are associated with the corresponding columns in the cursor result set from left to right. The data types of the variables must match the data types of the corresponding result set columns, or support implicit conversion compatible with the result set column data types. If a cursor that has been opened is not needed temporarily, it can be closed. MySQL provides the close statement to close a cursor. The syntax is as follows: close cursor underline name. Now let's provide an example to illustrate the process of working with a cursor. The first step is to declare the cursor. We use the declare statement for declaring the cursor. The cursor name used in our example is cursorStu. After that, we use cursor for followed by the corresponding query statement for the cursor. The query statement we use is select snow sex from student where stepped equals gswng. This query statement retrieves the student numbers and genders from the student table where the department is gswng. After declaring the cursor, we need to open the cursor with the name of the name cursorStu. Once the cursor is opened, we can use the fetch command to retrieve the data. The fetch statement is followed by the cursor name, which is cursorStu in our case. We also need to provide the corresponding variable names. Since our cursor is associated with a query that retrieves 2 fields, we need to provide two variable names after the int keyword. The data types of the variables should match the corresponding columns in the result set. Finally, we need to close the cursor using the close statement. We specify the name of the cursor, which is cursor_stu. Close cursor_stu. Next, let's provide a comprehensive example to apply these operation steps. Here, let's take an example. We will use them to count the number of male students in the student table who are in the computer science department. We will demonstrate the cursor operations within a stored procedure called proceedings_cursor. In the stored procedure, we first declare several variables. One is mark, which serves as a flag to control the loop. The loop will exit when the value of the variable mark becomes 1. Its initial value is set to 0, beyond the last record in the query result. Another variable is num, used to count the number of male students, initialized to 0. Both variables are of integer type. We then declare two additional variables to store the student number and gender. The gender variable is of character type. Next, we declare the cursor. After declaring the cursor, we define a custom error handling routine to handle the end of cursor traversal. Let's have a look. If the error code 02002 is encountered, the operation continues, and the mark variable is set to 1. This error occurs when trying to fetch beyond the last record in the query result, and the loop will be terminated. We proceed to open the cursor and construct a repeat loop. The loop continues until the mark value becomes 1. When the mark value is 1, it means that the error code has been encountered when trying to fetch beyond the last record during the traversal. Within the loop, we perform the counting of male students. We check if the gender variable contains the value male for each fetched record. Then we fetch the next record and repeat the process. If the gender is female, we skip the increment step. If it is male, we increment the variable by 1. This process continues until the loop is exited. Finally, we close the cursor. It's worth noting that the delimiter command is used to redefine the statement delimiter. It allows us to define the end of the stored procedure using the defined delimiter, which is the semicolon. In this case, multiple choice questions select one answer choice. Fill in the blanks questions. Program fill in the blanks questions. Above, we have introduced what cursors are and the process of working with cursors. We hope that you have gained a good understanding and mastery of them. Thank you, everyone.